Hey everyone, it's your boy. Okay, maybe it's not specifically your boy, but I'm someone's boy. And that's important too. It's me, Ryan. We are here again in this humble internet space that we call the YouTube, or YouTube. And you know, I think it comes up like every video that I do, but if you didn't know, I love Mass Effect. But you're here because you also love Mass Effect, or at least I assume you tolerate it enough to want to come here and listen to me talk about it, or at least you wanted to come in the comments and make fun of me for it, which I suppose is your prerogative, but that's mean. Don't do that. I flagged this news for us to talk about today because of my love for Mass Effect and the Mass Effect series, and my respect for Casey Hudson, who, at least in my mind, is like the father of the Mass Effect franchise. He was the shepherd, no pun intended. You better stop it right there. No puns, no puns. He was the shepherd of the franchise for the whole original trilogy of games. We talked about recently, at least in the last year, about how Casey Hudson had started a new game studio. New fans of Mass Effect probably won't get why I'm kind of interested in this or flagging this, but this man is probably a big reason for Mass Effect's existence, or at least its popularity and staying power. So yeah, for me at least, it's exciting in some way to see him doing something else. At the same time, they didn't have much to show other than to say that they wanted to make great games with cutting edge tech. Well, now if you go on their website, their newly formed website, they got some new concept art on there. They have a lot of job postings here and there. They have quite a bit of remote options, which I think is indicative of the state of the world and also the willingness to just pull talent from anywhere, wherever they may be, which is an attractive proposition to most people these days. With other companies having trouble getting people in the building or to work on some of these teams, having remote options is a good equalizer for them, especially with startup studios like Humanoid Studios, like Casey Hudson's new studio. I said studio a lot there, but I'm gonna stop. The concept art starts up here with a kind of vague "your journey begins" type of slogan. That's when we get our first look at some actual concept art or official concept art for the game. And honestly, I was actually struck by it quite a bit. If you scroll through it, you'll see a little blurb from Casey Hudson himself, and he basically says that they want to transport us to new worlds with their games and with new and innovative tech, yada yada yada. And I'll just say for me, and I only speak for myself, that this concept art gives me such a feeling of mystery and unexplored horizons. And I don't know, so far, I am really liking this concept art. Of course, there's not much else to it here really, but I just really like what I am seeing. I love that idea, or at least this idea of that like post-civilization type of science fiction where it's got this history behind it and this mystery and this aura of intrigue around it. It reminds me of this little game called Lifeless Planet. Now, that's not a great game by any stretch of the imagination, not at all. But the atmosphere of the game is one I kind of really gravitated towards, or at least it grabbed me quite a bit. A desolate world that is almost lived in and has these weird properties to it, but it hasn't been inhabited for some time, and it has this really eerie feeling about it. It's really cool. I don't know if this is going to be where the game is going to go, or at least feel like, but I do know that I like what I am seeing here with at least this concept art. And really, I'm not one to get caught up in concept art, and of course, not all concept art is a good indication of what the game will look like. And who knows how long this thing will be cooking, will be in the development pipeline, so the direction could change, or at least kind of go in a different path than what we're seeing here. But for now, I really like the vibe of the concept art, and if it's kind of similar in vein, I'm gonna be on board. Otherwise, there's really not much here to go on, and I don't expect for a while to know anything. And you guys know me based on what I've said in the past. I'm usually one for don't talk until you have something to show or announce or to release. But in this case, it kind of makes sense because they want to recruit more people to the studio and entice people to join, though we can learn a few things from the website here that at least we didn't know prior. Again, there's nothing striking here or anything to go nuts over or to get excited over, but there are a few things here that I think have potential if executed properly. First off, it's supposedly going to be a science fiction game, which we already knew since we have been talking about that already. Casey Hudson clearly, in my opinion, from what I've seen, has still got this love in his heart for science fiction and Mass Effect, because that's his baby. And honestly, this guy directed one of the greatest sci-fi RPG series or trilogies of all time. So there's a lot of potential here for a new IP under his leadership. Considering also they claim it's set to be a AAA RPG in this new universe, it's pretty exciting to think of all these possibilities for the new IP, which is said to be a character-driven narrative title. We can't jump the gun here because the studio is just starting up and it's unlikely we'll see anything for quite a while, but I feel like there's reason to at least be tentatively interested or even excited by what they could be doing here with a new IP, given the pedigree of one Casey Hudson. There's no word yet on what type of game it's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised. Now, this is not confirmed, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is an RPG of some sorts. But there's an emphasis here on the prospect of interactive storytelling, and that's also something I wanted to know for you guys. It'll be interesting to see what that means, at least in regards to this title. I mean, I would guess we're probably going to get something that has the feel of a Mass Effect kind of vibe or influence from that game series, or at least whatever it ends up being. And as I said, you already know that the concept art is really vibing with me pretty hard, and I just love the vibe. And I'll be curious to see what more they have to show when they have stuff to show. There's a load of potential here, and I guess my excitement, or I guess interest, is more predicated on Casey Hudson being involved and being head creative here at the studio. And I'm very curious what kind of game they make and if it will resonate with people. And that is why I wanted to talk about with all of you, or at least flag it for you to maybe just kind of poke your head around every once in a while and just take a look at it, because I figured you might be interested in this given the pedigree, as I said, of Casey Hudson. And if nothing else, it could give this man an opportunity to have more freedom to create the kind of worlds, mechanics, and stories that he and his team want to create. And I can't really blame them. To have that kind of freedom can really unleash their full potential as a studio. Ultimately, there's a lot of unknowns and who knows and what's that and why and Casey Hudson who? But do let me know what you think down below in the comments, or if this is at all interesting to you and anything else you'd like me to know. Like, comment, subscribe, do it all and more. Come support the channel. Thanks for watching either way, and I will talk to you all soon.